Hey, this is Gab Goldenberg for conversionrateoptimization.co. I'm live with Aaron Sagan of WordStream.
How's it going?
We're doing good, thank you. So, for those of you guys who don't know, Erin is a very knowledgeable PPC expert, and she's presented recently at SMX West, was it? Yeah,
Yep. Well, SMX East and then
SMX
SMX
East,
West earlier this year.
and then West. And so she's covered things like how to increase her conversions on mobile, and why people's ads aren't showing up on mobile, and retargeting, some surprising techniques in terms of extending the cookie duration, how long you're targeting people, things that not a lot of people know. And just from browsing around the internet, looking at LinkedIn, seeing that she's got quite some impressive testimonials there, people talking about her hard work, and you can see that from reading the content and watching the videos where she presents this knowledge she's gained. So
You're too kind.
thank you. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to pull out a few more gems of that nature from Erin if she's willing to share with us. And so yeah, Erin, why don't you tell us a bit about some recent campaigns you've been working on that stimulated your creativity a bit.
Sure, yeah.
That's
So,
my baby in the background. I'm sorry for that.
oh, that's so cute. Yeah, so we're working on a lot of stuff right now. Recently, we kind of moved into the social space, so we're doing a little bit more with Facebook advertising. The WordStream platform just recently kind of moved over to encompass not just AdWords, but also Facebook
Oh, that's fantastic
remarketing.
news. Okay, your clients must be delighted.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to have something new to focus on and to learn about, and it really does. It complements each other really nicely. I mean, remarketing is so critical, and
Sure.
being able to do it on Facebook has been a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Um, One thing that I've been learning more about it and working with more is how to compose ads that really resonate with social users. So we've
Okay.
been doing a lot of testing there, trying to get a little bit creative.
Okay.
Um, so utilizing things like emotion in our ad copy
Oh, that's
and
great.
images.
Very nice.
Yeah,
So, can you give us
yeah.
a few examples?
Yeah, sure. So, for example, our MS team, our agency team, ran some studies earlier on an ad for a weight loss product,
Hmm.
and they identified that the best market for this was males,
Yep.
like middle-aged males. Although they were less likely to click, they were significantly more likely to convert. So they really wanted to create ads that resonated with that particular kind of very valuable audience for
Sure.
them. And they had been running these ads that were very, very generic, almost had like a stock photo of a woman um, talking about losing weight, and they were just doing terribly.
Right.
So we tried something a little bit different, tried to leverage emotion, particularly disgust. So we took this image of this guy with an
With a huge
enormous
belly.
kind of beer belly, yeah, like a huge gut, and it said something like, I don't even remember what it was with regards to weight loss, but just that kind of shocking image that elicited disgust and then
Sure.
resonated with these men who probably sat there having a beer gut of their own.
Right.
It proved to create significantly higher click-through rates, not surprising at all, and was incredibly valuable for this particular client because we knew that men were more likely to converting at a higher dollar. So
That's
this was
great.
exactly the catalyst we needed to get the click-through rate that we needed.
Very nicely done. That's quite original, I think, because typically in weight loss advertising, you see a picture of a before and after of a woman in a bikini, and she's holding
Always
the
a woman
tape
in a bikini.
measure. Yeah, of course, because women don't wear
Yeah.
anything else other than bikinis, and it's so stereotyped, right? Like we could just write it up from memory, basically. These advertisers
It's
copy one
typical.
another so much.
Yeah. I think what's interesting, I think the point that this really brings to light is we make a lot of assumptions as marketers, right? We assume that the best market for weight loss is women, and because we so frequently see these ads with the women in the bikini or who lost like half their body size, the assumption is because we see it so much, that's what works. But when you actually look at the data, which is something I think we don't do enough,
Yeah,
but
you're
when
right.
you really dive into the data to understand who the best audience is, sometimes that will completely surprise you. And I think like if there's one thing that I've been encouraging my clients who are running PPC over the last couple of years, it's like just let the data do the talking for you. Don't make decisions solely like on your own experience or emotion.
Yeah.
Make decisions off the data, and that always will be better.
100%. So how did that insight come up that actually men were a better audience for this product?
We segmented the audience data for the display network, and we just like it was very, very clear the conversion rates were higher and a higher dollar amount. So it was kind of a no-brainer. We were like, oh my
Sure,
gosh,
sure,
all this
sure,
time we've been focused on women,
sure.
and while they were valuable too, the men were just more likely to convert.
Right. So what tool were you using to segment that data? Was that their own orders from the e-commerce side of things? That was in Google Analytics, something within AdWords, another report?
Yeah. No, so it was within Google Analytics, and to be honest, I'm not even sure exactly how we were segmenting it. As I mentioned earlier, we have a data scientist who is like a complete godsend for things like this. So
Sure.
we rely on him a lot to really dive in and understand the data in our accounts, and
Right.
it's proven incredibly useful to have somebody whose kind of passion is math and data to dive into that. I mean, I personally prefer to work more on the client side and the creative side much more than the data side.
Sure, I
So
hear that.
I recognize that weakness, and we've kind of
Yeah.
made up for it with this hire. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome to have him here.
That's excellent. What's his name?
Mark Irvin.
Mark Irvin. Okay, with an E at the
Yeah,
end?
he publishes a ton. Yes, with an E at the end. He publishes a ton on the WordStream blog.
Fantastic.
I don't want to steal his thunder, but he has a really exciting post coming out. I think in the next 2 weeks or so, talking about predictive data from Twitter.
Oh, that's quite
So keep an
interesting.
eye out for that. Yeah, I haven't seen the complete product yet, but I
Hmm.
saw his research going into it, and I think it's going to be really, really fascinating stuff. So
Fantastic. So send me the
highly
link. I'll be
recommend
happy
it.
to share it.
Yes, I definitely will.
That'd be great. Yeah, make a note. Um, so that's quite an interesting case study. I think I saw something about that in some of your recent blog posts on display ads. Um, so when you approach clients, right? What are some of the most common wins you're able to find in their accounts?
So we have this really cool tool called the grader. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've seen,
sure.
you've seen it all
Who
over
hasn't heard of
online.
WordStream's graders?
Yeah, it's it's very, very popular. But it's awesome because it helps you identify those quick wins
Sure.
really easily. So you basically plug in your account credentials, it analyzes your account and spits out a report. So anytime before I get on a call with a client, or a prospective client usually, I'll run the grader, and that's a
Aha.
really, really great way to identify those areas of opportunity,
Nice.
especially when it's not your client yet and you're not super, super involved in the account
Right.
and you don't want to spend a ton of time delving into it. That's a really great way to identify some of those pain points and show these prospective clients what you can do to change them. Like a lot of stuff with impression share, quality score, things that people who aren't in the PPC world, they don't think about these things. They don't understand these things. Quality score, I think, being the biggest one. And if you can have a good conversation with them about that and show them the missed opportunity because they have lower quality scores, it's oftentimes a slam dunk.
Really, that's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So how does what is I'm curious, what is the balance of things? Because I noticed you guys have a landing page grader as well now.
Yeah.
So when people, prospective clients come to you, or existing clients possibly, what is their what is motivating them in terms of the benefit they're seeking? Are they trying to save time? They just want to get this off their hands, right? They want to, I don't know if it's a dentist, get back to yanking teeth, or a lawyer, wants to go back to court, or it's just the raw ROI numbers are what drives them. Like, what are the dominant motivations?
I think that the biggest motivation is definitely from the financial side. Oftentimes, they don't understand all of the things that are going into paid search,
Yeah,
but what they do see is like, hey, I'm putting money in and my phone isn't ringing, or I'm putting money in and I haven't seen a new client walk in the door. They don't understand everything that's happening in between. All they see is, yes, they're putting money in, no, they're not getting leads, and
got
that's a
it.
huge red flag for them. So
Sure.
oftentimes, our clients are coming to us saying, hey, I know PPC is valuable. I've read all about it. I've seen case studies demonstrating its results, but I don't understand why it's not working for me.
Right.
And I know there's something wrong happening in my account. I just don't know what it is. And
Right.
I don't, part of that is the time component. Like they don't want to spend the time to figure it out on their own. They also, that's not their area of expertise. Why should they? So having a tool to help them do that, and a customer service component, like we have a huge customer success team. Every one of our clients has a dedicated account representative that gets to know their account inside out, and that is huge for these clients who don't have the time to learn about this stuff, don't have the time to dive into their accounts, but they
Sure.
know something is wrong
Right.
and they're just trying to fix it.
Interesting. So, in
Yeah.
in what industries would you say that your clients are more savvy? Are there, is it the case, for example, that moving companies are further along than, let's say, plumbers, or maybe lawyers more than, I don't know, banks, something
So
else?
So I think somebody asked me that the other day, and it's funny that you asked that as well. I think it's not so much by vertical
Yeah.
that we see a different level of PPC expertise. I
Hmm.
think it's by company size. Like if you have a larger company, you're definitely going to have somebody there who's dedicated to paid search, who is maybe kind of more savvy from a marketing perspective. So if you're looking at a huge moving company, they probably have a really sophisticated paid search model.
Right.
If you're looking at a teeny tiny mom and pop moving company, then they probably know very little about PPC. I oftentimes see these small companies ask their IT guy to run paid search, which is like totally crazy. But people think like, oh, paid search, computers, the tech guy will know how to do it. So I can't tell you how many IT people I've talked to who are like, I have no idea why I'm doing this or how I got signed up for this, but this is now my responsibility and I need your help.
Okay, interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so fascinating. So,
Yeah.
in terms of your own work, let's talk about some of your speaking engagements. What has the experience been like? What have people reacted with?
So I've spoken a couple times, and typically the conferences that I speak at are more expert conferences, so the people in the audience are really savvy. I think for them, the things that make these talks so exciting or engaging is if you can share something that they don't expect. And you
Sure.
mentioned the remarketing presentation um, earlier today. I did a presentation on remarketing, and when you think about remarketing, everyone talks about ad fatigue.
Yeah.
And the big thing is like, make sure that you're setting your membership duration short and your frequency capping very small, because you want to ensure that you're not like slamming people over the head with ads
Right.
and harassing them and stalking them and giving remarketing this crazy stalker reputation.
Sure.
But when we looked at the data, again, all coming back to the data, when we look at the data, what we did see is the more frequently people saw your ads, the more likely they were to convert.
Exactly.
So it goes against what you expect.
Right.
And when you can share something like that, something that goes against the grain,
Hmm.
but has data to back it up,
Right.
those are the things that get people excited at these conferences.
I'll bet.
Um,
So did that get
or
people?
just fun stories.
Yeah. Okay. Like what?
Yeah. Um, I think a lot of it is making this, like, PPC isn't exciting. It's really kind of boring. It's like very data heavy and it can be very dry.
Sure.
And I think when you add a personal component and can tell personal stories of how it's like impacted you
Right.
or experiences, where you've been remarketed to or where you've fallen for it
Right.
or where
I saw that
talking about
dress you
clarity.
mentioned. I think that was
Yeah.
a retargeting thing, right?
That dress
94%
cleaned
off
out my
deal.
bank account. Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah. Right, like examples of where, like, we're experts on this stuff. We're the ones who are applying these, like, sneaky discounts or ad customizers to push people to make a quick decision. But we also fall victim to those every day.
Yeah.
Like, we totally play into it.
Yeah.
And I think when you can give those examples, that makes it more interesting for people. It's not just, learning about how to set a frequency cap. It's
Sure.
understanding what goes into that and why,
Exactly.
and how that impacts them.
Right. So did that lead to WordStream getting customers?
I like to think so. But to be honest, I think a lot of the conferences is just about getting our brand out there,
Sure.
engaging with other people in the community,
Right.
getting to know other experts. And I know, like, when you speak at these things, sometimes people will ask you to do a guest blog post.
Right.
That's great for our visibility.
Exactly.
So in terms of getting direct customers, maybe a couple,
Yeah.
but I think it's bigger, more like kind of top of the funnel branding, engaging with people, and hopefully some of them eventually run graders and become customers.
Sure. Yeah. As somebody who's spoken also at a fair number of SMXs, they've been just very kind to me. I'm very grateful. My experience has been quite similar. There are a lot of agency people in particular. Most of the time, the other agencies aren't going to hire another agency, but it does do good things for your brand. And also, you don't get direct clients so much, but people move around. They go from an agency to in-house.
Oh,
and
totally. And I think for someone who is working at one of those bigger agencies, you guys probably get tons of clients from these types of things, and it's huge for kind of that direct client relationship. For us, we're working with people who are small SMBs who aren't super savvy marketers.
Right.
So for them, it's like they would never even show up at one of these events.
Sure.
So we went to a Constant Contact conference.
Oh, that's smart.
Awesome.
I'll bet.
Earlier this year, it was Constant Contact. They're great people. They can put on a great show, and just like super knowledgeable group of speakers. It was a great opportunity for us, but that was a little bit more of our target market: Constant Contact customers doing email marketing, these small businesses. Those are people
fantastic.
we were talking to that were a fit.
That's really cool. So, what is the average customer monthly spend of the people whose accounts you're managing?
So it's crazy, kind of the variety that you see.
Sure.
With our software, like, we've worked with people who have really, really small budgets all the way up to like 6-figure per month budgets.
That's not too
What I
shabby.
will say is kind of our sweet spot is between the 5 to 10K a month range.
Right, I got you. The growing businesses, but there's still probably 5 or fewer employees, something like that.
Exactly. When you look at the really, really small businesses, people who are brand new, kind of at that, like, a couple $100 a month,
Right.
those aren't necessarily a fit for us.
Sure.
They're just a little bit further downstream. We want to see them grow, and
Right.
eventually they're probably going to be a good fit for the WordStream product.
Yeah, I'll bet. So, I know that you said you need to go in a few more minutes. If you have more time, obviously, I'm very happy to do that. What's the situation?
Yeah, let's go for like 5 more minutes or so. I have a webinar coming up that I need to review before I start doing it.
Good for you. So, if you wanted to give some tips to people who are in this bracket, right, of 5 to 10,000 a month, right? What are some key things? And just for a moment, I mean, I know as marketers, we always want to get in a good word for ourselves, and I'll be happy to get to that in a moment. But without using WordStream products, what are 3 quick tips that people can go into their account and today they can make an optimization that's either going to bring them more leads or cut their wasted spend.
Sure. I think number one, the biggest thing, and I know it gets a lot of flack because we say every single year, the year of mobile. Cliche as it may be, we really are at a pivotal point for mobile,
Yeah,
and
you're
I
right.
think so many small business advertisers um, are not prepared for it.
Yeah,
And we see this not just like with their landing pages, but even their PPC strategy is not. They're kind of treating mobile as though it's desktop, and it's not.
right.
Right? You have people in vastly different circumstances. The competition is different. The average CPCs are different, so people need to be aware of that, cognizant of that, prepared for it, and really take the time to dive into mobile. Don't say we're going to do it next year or we have a big mobile initiative next year.
Sure.
Just bite the bullet and do it, and you will thank yourself
And we'll thank Aaron
the second
Sagan.
you do this. Yes, please.
So how can they take that mobile strategy direction, and what can they do about it today?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. I think number one, the biggest thing, and it goes without saying, is people need to have mobile-specific landing pages. If you don't have strong mobile landing pages, and maybe I shouldn't say mobile-specific landing pages. A lot of people have them, but they're crappy, they're outdated, and they're just not yielding conversions.
Yeah.
If you're going to work so hard to get people to your mobile site, you need to have an up-to-date website that is sophisticated, is easy to convert on, but not oversimplified. You need to take the time to test that website and make sure it resonates with people.
Exactly. So how can they make their mobile landing pages better? What are some common, 2 or 3 common mistakes they make?
So I think one of the worst ones is just oversimplifying things.
Yeah.
There was this kind of idea years and years ago. I remember I used to tell people, go Mo and use Duda Mobile. And Duda Mobile at the time was free, and it essentially took your website and spit out this super, super simplistic mobile landing page, which was great at the time, but now mobile users are more sophisticated.
Right.
So you need to ensure that you're not dumbing it down, excluding data that they need to make their decision.
Right.
Like everything that they need to make that decision should be at their fingertips.
Interesting.
Easy to find. I think it's also critical. I mean, how many times have you tried to check out somewhere and you click on the keyboard to type something in, you struggle with the zoom or the proper keyboard doesn't come up.
Right.
You're typing numbers and you have the letter keyboard, you have to keep switching back and forth. That's an easy thing to fix.
Exactly.
So people should be taking the time to ensure that process is clean for them.
100%. That's a very good tip.
Or if you have an app, push people to the app. Like your app is probably significantly better than your mobile landing page.
Okay.
It's probably newer. You've probably invested a lot more in ensuring it provides people with a good user experience. So push people to use your app. Use app extensions.
Right. Oh, that's a good trick.
Push people to call you. If you have a crappy site, but you do have like a call center or someone who's able to pick up the phone and sell that prospect, then ensure that you have call extensions or even use call-only campaigns.
Oh, wow.
I don't think apps and calls are the be-all, end-all. Like, I don't think you can avoid fixing your mobile landing pages because of those two things, but they're a good Band-Aid until you get your mobile site perfect and up and running.
That's a good description. So I know you need to go. I'm going to do a bit of promotion for WordStream, right? So first of all, for those people who don't know, WordStream is a fantastic suite of pay-per-click tools, and they're expanding all the time. Last I checked, they've now got call tracking as well. All of you guys doing local, right? The movers, the tradespeople, the lawyers, the banks. Okay. They've got, I think, your own mobile landing pages. Did I see that right?
Yeah, we just released mobile landing pages, and our biggest, kind of big deal thing that we have right now is we launched Facebook remarketing.
Right, so that's going to be huge ROI, 100%. So you guys can check them out at wordstream.com. You can follow Erin on Twitter as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? What's the name, the username?
It's so easy. It's just Erin Sagan.
Okay, ErinSagin for those of you.
SAGIN.
listening in. And yeah, have a look and follow Erin. I think you guys will be listening to many more of her speeches at further conferences.
Yeah, always happy to answer questions on Twitter, or you can DM me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. This was so much fun. Thank you for having
My
me.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Erin.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
You too. Be well.
All right, bye-bye.